How has mixed martial art impacted your life?
It gave me the exit. You know, I think I think it was like, as a kid, I think as a young teenager, you find little moments that you self criticize, and you're
Mhm.
either gonna tip the scale worse or tip the scale better. I don't know what decides that. I bet there's a lot of factors in kids' lives that decide when they're a teenager what's gonna tip the scale. So I try to tell my kids, okay, what's gonna tip the scale? Right now, my 10-year-old, I give her that scenario all the time. Hey, you're complaining about something. What if you're right? What are you going to do? Because she can't be stuck on that. She needs to tip the scale to success. And I use that word with them all the time. Are you going to choose to be successful, or are you going to choose misery? I choose the word misery because in one way or another, it's easy for you to add a little misery to anything positive, anything negative. So jujitsu was able to let me tip the scale always to a little better. That's what it gave me. And somewhere or another, jujitsu became so much of me that now when I look back, I could calculate how many times I treated situations like it was a jujitsu match. And maybe I won, and maybe I lost. And that's how much MMA has reflected in my life. It I let it change everything, to a degree. I was that crazy where everything was as detrimental as the next fight. What are you going to eat? Where are you going to run? Who are you going to talk to? What are you going to work? How are you going to work? How are you going to make it there? All of that came down to little calculations to my next moves, and in a way it blinded me to a lot of success that I missed. In a way, it opened up a lot of opportunities to things that I'm able to do today. I'm just grateful. Holy crap. If it wasn't for that, I'm not good at soccer. You want the real truth? I am that Brazilian. That is awful at soccer. I don't have Italia. Listen to me, and whoever ever watches this, I cannot kick a ball to save my life. It's awful. Any ball, soccer ball. Look, something happened in my brain where I think is because I visualize things more than I can calculate them. And a lot of sports is calculation, is pattern recognition. I don't recognize any pattern. That's why my jujitsu is so fantastic. Is because there's always like an advert to go somewhere else, you know. And it's like, whoa. The only thing that saved me in fighting is that I could take a punch. I was able to take a punch. So like I was never fearful of who I fought, even when the odds were crazy bad. But I was on it because I was my head was hard enough. So I let jujitsu play its part in my life, right? I'm like, I could get in there and maybe beat him. And that maybe, I believe the maybe
Mhm.
so much. And that's the thing that people don't understand about me is that that's all life is, this huge maybe. And you either look at the dry and cut or you look at the maybe. And I just hug the maybe all the time because I love what comes from the maybe. When I'm playing that top position, the guy might sweep me and the maybes there are fantastic. Or I might just wreck this fool. And I love that maybe.
Mhm.
I've gotten smart enough to quantify the chances of the maybe, right? That's all. But fighting, that was the thing. I think so many other fights was like, so reflective of who I am, I don't look the part. A lot of the times, I think both times you photographed me, my opponents looked like tanks, and I looked like I just came out of the buffet. Hey, that made it fun. That made it the thing. That made these guys respect me. That made it impressive, And now, my last two fights, I was able to like look a little better and be cut and be this and be that. And in all honesty, yeah, it was fun. It was fun, But in all honesty, I love the maybe, and that's what I think. That's what MMA did to my life. It gave me that a true alternative that I'm now able to appreciate so much, and just put it everywhere. It makes everything easier now because it was the only thing I had. You got to think about it. Teenager, and you're not good at sports. Think of the clown I had to be. I had to fight. I had to fight. Look at me trying to play some basketball. Clown. Look at me trying to kick a soccer ball. Clown. Look at me. I had no chance. But then somebody stepped up, right? And I was never, I think I was never afraid. I don't know. I think I got beat once or twice and the pain resonated in the.
You say that you train at Thornton or you teach at Thornton. What is it that you do there?
So I am the head director and head coach of the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu program. So, some 5 years ago, the program was really, really underdeveloped. It was a mess. So I had the experience to at least the time in Jiu Jitsu to come in and say I can teach every day, and at least it'll be less messy. So that's how it started. I started teaching every day in exchange for not paying my gym dues. I was also an athlete for Thornton at the time, so I also fought for them and trained there Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. When I came in, like, there was people getting by in the whole Jiu-Jitsu thing. It was twice. It was like really awful. So I was like, okay, I'm training here. I'm a fighter here. We need a program. So I need something a little more repetitive at least. So then I took it over as that mission. Like, okay, let's save the jiu-jitsu program. And boom, I was fighting, I was teaching, I was training, investing a lot of time in the gym, earning trust within the gym, and boom, time went by, and here we are today. I've been 5 years strong. A lot of people came and went, but the program is solid. I got a solid about six competitors right now. A few of them are doing AMI fights and MMA fights. Um, you know, so we've been able to be successful um, within the time that we have. 5 years, we do an hour a day, which is nothing compared to other gyms. When guys listen to this and they look us up, it's going to be like, wait a minute, because it's a miracle. Our time versus our success rate, which we're about 90% successful. 90%. And I'm not talking about draws. I'm talking about wins versus losses, medals won versus medals losses. We're about 90% successful with it with an hour of training a day. So I don't know particularly what I do that works. I do implement, different thoughts and processes and systems that I've learned throughout the years, and things that here's how I tell everybody. I teach what I do. I truly teach what I do. And I just realized, hey, until we have a problem, we teach something different. But let's perfect what we know how to do. So it's worked. It's worked, and we've been 5 years strong. The programs haven't been stronger. We're adding classes, adding kids, adding more adult classes. So it's, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that people have been able to support it and believe it a little bit and win. I love seeing the guys win overall. It's for most people, they're like me when I started, but at a later age, which I can't imagine the hell you go through in your lifetime to do shit that you can't complement with jujitsu. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you have a talent, right? And you pursue it. I don't know when you started, but imagine how miserable, because you are. How miserable were you before you started doing photograph? Before you started doing this? How miserable were you? You could be honest with me, because you were a little miserable, because now you have a comparison. And right now, come on. You're sitting on a Sunday afternoon having coffee, talking shit with this guy. What's better? because I'm incredible. It's just the action. It's just the to do, right? So it's like, how perfect that you're able to implement what you love.
Yeah.
I'm able to implement what I love now all the time. It's all the time. And I think people resonate with that. I think people are like almost within those steps. Like they get to go to work and do their sometimes shit jobs, sometimes incredible jobs. You know, look, I, you talk to people. How many people are happy about their jobs? You're talking to a guy, I couldn't be happier. And I'm broke.
Mhm.
Hey, I do personal training, world. Come talk to me. I got your back. You want to get shredded? Listen. But I love it. Even within the struggle and the steps, and I'm taking more steps. I got more news. Maybe I'll reveal to you and the world. But even within the steps that I take, painful steps,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. If you offer me anything else right now, I'm gonna get mad, and I might let you. If you be like, oh, go work at a restaurant, I'm like, wait a minute, what? What? Oh man, look, I'm getting mad right now. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because you don't understand how perfect it is. I want more of what I do. Mm-hmm. Like I want more clients. I want more classes. Like I've been talking to my boss. I'm like, oh man, come on, we got this. I'm insane. So when I come up with ideas, I have to tell myself, Gil, shut up because you're gonna overwhelm them. And that's me and my boss. If I call him right now and say, hey Ed, how many times have I overwhelmed you in a conversation? It's incredible because I keep reaching for the possibilities, you know, like that's how much I believe in them.
Yeah.
And if you present to me a problem, oh my gosh, you just made my day because I love overcoming the problems. I love like, okay, what can we do to solve it? I don't give a fuck how you feel. Like my wife fighting with me is the most annoying thing because sometimes she wants to bicker. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, just tell me what to do. I tell her like I'm a monkey. I'm a gorilla. I don't know. I don't want to plan. I just tell me where to go. Like I told her, I'm just learning to be civilized. I'm just on the breach of like, okay, I know how to talk. Oh my gosh, I could say what I'm thinking finally. Because before it was like, oh, I'm, you know, my posture is getting good now. You know, that's to be fair. To be fair. One sec. Yes, yes, pretty girl. Yes.
It's nothing.
Oh, okay. I love it. They just want to hear me. They probably hear me because I'm shouting, so everyone hears me, right? Because that's all I do. So probably everyone is hearing me. Yeah. Yeah. So I really love what I do at Thornton, and I think people resonate. And man, it's amazing. It's right now I'm back in jiu-jitsu due to retiring from MMA. I wouldn't do both with the chance to injury was just crazy, you know. Jiu-jitsu now, you know, maybe because I'm 30, I'm over 30, but because I'm over 30 now, 32, I don't mind saying my age, I'm 32. I think I look good for 32, but the body just doesn't, the elasticity's kind of gone, and I do everything to dominate now at jiu-jitsu. Like I do everything I can so my body is anytime, because now it's like that. Anytime somebody might say, I don't believe you. And it's like, okay, then let's go to the floor and let's duke this out. Let's show you what my jiu-jitsu is about. So I'm trying to maintain my body, but the elasticity is not there. So because MMA is gone and you know it's so far from my thoughts, I can focus on jiu-jitsu and be back in that mode. So oh man, that brings a whole nother level of prospect to the student because I'm not only involved in their success, but I'm also involved in my success. So, like the lion needs to show its fangs per se, you know, and you know, and then I have to take a bigger bite out of the students, which to a degree they love. It's the weirdest thing I've been finding out about the world. Like, I had this discussion with my boss. He was like, yo, man, you posted a video of you kicking your client's ass. And I said, you know what's weird? It got the most views. Not to say it was the right move, but who is to say it was the right move? If that got popularized, right? Because I run a business, so I pay attention to these things. I said, if that got popular, there might be a reality that people like to see, which might be, okay, this guy isn't gonna baby me. Which whoever's, if you take 3 looks at my Instagram, there's so much pain in everyone's face. You're like, okay, this guy is insane, you know? So I'm like, okay, at least we got that out of the way. So anytime you see me, the expectation is that next level. So that's how I roll. Boom. That's what I bring to that's what I love bringing to the table. And I think my students resonate, and I teach from the heart. I really tell these guys, look, man, if the technique, I never did it, I'll tell them, hey, I never did this. I don't know if you could trust it. I tell them the problems I have with it, And then when something is juicy, when something is that Puerto Rican coffee I'm drinking right now, that you just have to listen. I tell the guys, I said, look, man, I bring them in a huddle and I'm like, look, I don't want you guys even talking about this. I don't want this to come out of your mouths. You just do it because it's so good. So that's how that's how I paint everything I do. It's like it's a story. It needs to be very carefully meticulated in your mind, or it's so nonchalant that it's like, all right, whatever. So that's how I place the two sides to what I do. I think I either make it very dramatic and pay attention, or it's like, okay, it's useless. Like, I tell guys at the bottom, like, call me coach. Some of them call me by my name, and I don't mind. But I'm like, I don't need master. I don't need professor or any other variation of that. No oaths. I don't need any of that. Like, I'm informal. I don't bow in. I bow everybody out just so they can think they went to jiu-jitsu class. Otherwise, I just high five everybody out and we're done. I think the informality, it keeps a certain amount of reality, because some people create so much formality that it seems cheesy. I get it. I have nothing wrong with formality. There's plenty of people I call master. I do it because I'm part of the community and I know that's important to a certain degree. And maybe when I get to my 60s, that's going to be my thing to be a dick about. Call me master. But right now, I'm like, cool. I'm still shameless about being tapped out. Like, I don't care. I take the risk. Now when I'm fighting, I just been super nostalgic. I've been watching my jiu-jitsu fights lately because of what I'm teaching. I want to make sure, like, okay, I use this stuff and I want to make sure it works. So now, like, the stuff that I'm teaching, I'm looking up to see when I did it, and I'm like, there it is. That's the juice. So then I'm like, okay, look at it, Gil. How can you explain what you were thinking? And now I'm getting good at that. I'm getting good at transmitting. And the people that I've been showing my fights that have been learning the techniques, they're like, oh shit. Oh my God. And they're like, oh my gosh, it works. Because then I get to show it to them at a high level. And that's what I promise everyone. And I think that's a promise I get to back up all the time, is that, hey, I teach you stuff that work at the lowest level and at the elite level, and it all it takes is you finessing the in between. And that's been my consistent story for everyone, and I think they love it. I think they really resonate with this type of language, that I'm one of you. Here is a small map of what we're gonna do, and from point A to point B, God knows what's gonna happen, but we're gonna get to point B. And it's been my whole month since we got back from COVID, and we introduced because we did jujitsu with no touching for a good amount of time. So now I kept that class as a strength and conditioning and a preparation class, which has been proven wonders for my athletes. Like their bodies resonating so much with the exercise that I've come up with, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't know. I've won 3 awards for being like part of the greatest gym in Hartford. So I worked for Body Rock for 3 years, and the 3 years I worked for them, we won the Best Gym Award for Best of Hartford. So that's like a big deal within a small community of fitness. So I was able to own a lot of my skills in that company in creating effective workouts. Things that you could come in for an hour and kick ass and see results. So, boom.